Recording with Mr. Kyle Williams. And we were just beforehand talking about paranormal and effects on computers. And the reason why we're 10 minutes late to the stream is I never realized how much I sweat in this shirt. That's disgusting. Um, uh, yeah, my iMac was like, you need to sign out of your iCloud in order to use iMac. And I was just thinking, like, the last time I've had to sign out was when I was a sophomore in college in 2011, which kind of threw me for a loop. But before I start, man, dude, introduce yourself.
Well, Kyle Williams. Uh, I have, I mean, my background is in, I guess you'd say my father used to say, well, of himself, jack of all trades, but master of none. So, I guess people know me in my area just for being in bands and making music, competing in mixed martial arts and stuff like little, extreme things here and there. But my family, I got my a little extreme the way I look and
No, dude,
so on
it's
and so forth.
awesome. I love it.
But it used to be I've had my face tattooed since like 2009, I'd say. And then when I first got my face tattooed, it was a little more shocking. Nowadays it's kind of like it's really actually bizarre how I look now, because I never assumed that the world would have turned out to be so like accepting and just like face tattoos are everywhere. I mean,
Oh,
I was in a 7-Eleven last summer. There was like four or five other people in the 7-Eleven with face tattoos. I'm like, what is going on? This is so bizarre. But I used to wear them. I used to wear them proudly, a little differently. Nowadays, it's kind of just like, oh, geez, another face tattoo guy. You know,
does it take away from it for you? Do you not
it
enjoy it
it
as much?
it was like this is what I like. I wish that I could. I wish that only certain people could see. I wish that I could let what people see when I wanted them to see, because it's like, I guess it's kind of a, it's a paradox, but they're so the way that I look and my tattoos and stuff, they're so personal to me. I've kind of been on a trip for like my whole life, I feel like, in terms of like trying to gauge this, I guess you'd call it the spiritual journey. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And so I've tried to like, or when I was younger, I was a little bit more like a loose cannon, just trying to express it in all these different ways and stuff like that. But and so they mean a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, they're my a lot of my body's covered and stuff like that. And so like, it just came from I went to a lot of like, hardcore metal shows when I was young. I was pretty heavily influenced by like the hardcore culture, like being coming up in Detroit and stuff like that. There was all these different crews, like not so much gangs, but they called them crews back then. They were more like just like dudes that would get together in groups, go to shows, fight, maybe. A lot of them were straight edge. I'm sure you're familiar with like that whole kind of straight edge thing in music. Are you familiar with that at all?
I'm aware of the term of like straight edge, like
So like it was pretty serious, like all up the East Coast. You said you're in Providence, right?
no, no, no. I was in Maryland, now I'm in Maine.
Oh, you're in Maine. Okay. So like, just kind of like major cities. It's not even so much like how it was anymore, but like the hardcore community, like back in the day, hardcore, like I mean, it's not metal. It's not screamo. Are you familiar with like heavy music
Hmm.
at all? Okay. So like hardcore music is a little bit more like tight knit community, familial, like type, and they really try to promote, like, I guess, on a kind of a pseudo level, like almost like an ideology of like vigilance, like discipline. So anyways, there was all these like straight edge crews back in the day that were like, don't drink, don't smoke, no premarital sex, no caffeine, like,
Okay.
and like, but then there was this element of like violence to it too. It was like total just I don't even know what, like just like, yeah, I guess like a big paradox in the whole thing. But
Juxtaposition of
yeah,
like
it's like
puritanical asceticism, but let's also like beat the shit out of each other.
and like almost like in a lot of confused youth, I guess you'd say, like
Yeah.
anti, it was all like a lot of these guys, a lot of these crews, especially out of New York and stuff, but Detroit got caught up pretty heavy, like vegan, and anti-racist, like that's a huge part of it, even though it's mostly, so but anyways, like at least from where I'm from, a lot of these a lot of the straight edge guys and stuff, hand tattoos, throat tattoos, whole face covered, like XXX is like a kind of like a straight edge tag, like back in the day, at least around from where I'm from. So anyways, I don't want to say I got caught up in it, but I just kind of like I had it's like these are just like big, tough dudes that went to shows and played in heavy hardcore bands and whatever. So, the look of it was kind of almost like gang, like a gang kind of like aesthetic. But
Hmm.
anyways, I kind of put my own little spiritual twist onto things. But yeah, it's definitely now it's so watered down. It's like I'd say, this whole side of my face and head pretty heavily covered, my whole midsection, a lot of my body. But yeah, nowadays it's just like, man. And then the other thing too is just like with the MMA or Muay Thai and stuff, it's a little bit it's just everybody. I watch these bare knuckle fights nowadays. It's just like, man, every other fighter's, has got face tattoos and the whole. I just it's really bizarre. I fit this just like this stereotype, and I did the hip hop and rap thing for years, and it's just like I'm 37 years old, so like a lot of the younger kids now have all these face tattoos and stuff. It's just so bizarre. I just sometimes I love the way that I look, but I just don't like the way that it's all turned out. The internet culture is just almost like destroyed the heaviness and of what I was trying to like get across 15 years ago, 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. It's a little bit different. I wear them differently now.
Hmm.
So it's bizarre, but
I feel like to rebel now, you'd have to be like almost like 1950s nuclear family. Like
and
like stay at home
it's,
wife, white picket fence, like two and a
it's,
half kids. Like
it's so bizarre because
that's hard. That's like hardcore now.
so like there was a switch in our culture. Like, and I will literally, I will literally correlate it to like around the 2012 time, where like what we consider like, yeah, like rebellious and yada yada, and like, I got a degree from University of Michigan in anthropology and history, and I was extremely like, I was pretty obsessed coming up with Native American philosophy, Native American religion and culture, indigenous people in general. I studied the shit out of anything I could get my hands on in terms of indigenous spirituality, earth worship and nature worship, and on and on and on. The use of entheogens for, yeah, I guess
Hmm.
from 18 years old until, I've done ayahuasca with shamans. I've done just the DMT once, but I probably eaten mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, like 60 times alone, completely isolated after fasting for 3 days and prepping to,
Five dried grams in darkness. Terrence McKenna.
yeah, crossing the threshold, Terrence
Yeah,
McKenna, all that stuff, like
yeah,
obsessing over the 2012 date,
yeah.
obsessing over the I Ching, obsessing over channeling and mediums
Ley
and
lines and yeah,
ley lines and everything that kind of came out of that. Like, I'd say when the internet was still pure, not even that the internet, because we've been given the internet obviously for probably incredibly immoral and degenerate reasons,
nefarious reasons. Yeah,
but 2005, I was a freshman in college and I got Facebook, and you could only sign into you
school.
could log to your school, and specifically not even your whole school, but just the people in your classes at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. And so like, MySpace and the whole deal. And like, it might've been, it's just like anything, it's an organic thing. And then, so, but anyways, you could get on the internet back then. I'm sure you remember. How old are you? Probably same age, right? Like
I'm
30s.
32. No, I
Oh,
remember
okay,
like
okay.
the Wild West internet. I remember like
Where
early 2000s. Like
you could just get on and you could literally, it would be like you could literally access some dude in his basements, their hard drive with all of, I mean, you could find everything and anything. Just
it was
everything, you know what I'm saying?
lawless. It
It
was
was lit,
absolutely lawless.
it was literally lawless, you know, and but like, but the thing is like there was genuine, there was a genuine, like you could find real
It was magical.
information. It was like the physical version of the Akashic records.
Yeah,
And it was
it
like,
was a digital LSD. You'd leave like your normal life and go on. You'd be 12 and you'd go home and go find some 90 paragraph article from some back website about how the Vatican has UFOs, and you're like, what the fuck is? And you just go down the rabbit hole.
you just couldn't believe that it existed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, now I've, you know, yeah, you know, we're just at this point. I don't, you know, anyways, back to what I was saying, but like
No, who cares? Keep going. Just follow the thread.
leading up to this whole, you know, 2012 time and stuff, I kind of lost my train of thought. I
No,
was
no, no.
going
Just go back to where just follow the flow.
yeah, I'm trying to think about what, you know, my main point, why I brought up 2012 this whole
Hardcore
time.
1950s is now the hardcore.
Oh, it's because I will say this. I felt like going into that time, I, you know, I had reached a point. My dad was, I would say, a powerful occultist.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in his own world. Big dude, Metro Detroit. Metro Detroit's a little different. Like, I mean, you know, I guess you could say like I get the same vibe when I meet like like kind of like East Coast New York people, DC people, and stuff like that. But like it's just it's there's an edge, there's something over in this Metro Detroit area that's a little bit like, it's just aggressive. I'll say that. You know, I have the, you know, I just have always kind of had some aggression thing or whatever. But leading up to that point, my dad was the same way around 2012, pushing the envelope in the 90s, esotericism, occultism, scrying, you know, crystal bowls, reading, practicing tarot, just pushing the envelope with the Golden Dawn rituals and getting way too wrapped up in just I'll say, you know, I don't want to call it, I won't even call it black magic. I'll just say gray magic, teetering,
Okay.
like not really. And at that time, you know, and so for me, in terms of Christianity, I never grew up, I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up a Christian or anything like that. So my father, like I said, was like, I would just say an openly practicing occultist on top of battling, you know, a little bit of alcohol
Mm-hmm.
and just being kind of a no fucking nonsense type dude. Might whoop your ass, might slap you in public, but had this other side of him that was like very spiritually. He demanded, like, if my father walked into a room, he would demand like not respect, but like you just didn't know what was up with the dude. He was big, bald headed, beard, weightlifter dude, but
Commanding.
also a practicing, I'll just say magician, okay, and powerful. And so, anyways, up to this point, you know, in my personal world, I'm trying to understand the nature of these things. I'm of the nature of sleep, death, life, reincarnation, Christ, Buddha, Satan, Lucifer, the whole thing. And it just culminated at this point in 2012. Well, like I'm getting to where like, you know, where it was like for me on the other side of it, it's like you know, I just remember I was in LGBT club. I'm a straight white guy, but you know, I was in LGBT club at U of M, like where it would be like in my personal thinking, it was like, you know, vigilant to protect the underdog, the you know, lesbian, gay, bi whole thing, you know, the just like the and blaming it on the patriarchy, blaming it on the Abraham. I remember writing a paper in college, the Abraham plague, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and how it's this plague that spread across the planet, and yada yada, and just like up to the point, even on the internet, in my studies, like all of history would point to, well, what's the problem? Oh, the problem is the church. The problem is Christianity. And I worked myself into this hole of like being completely like, I'll say literally anti-Christian. Anything about Christianity it would just irritate me. And only reason I'm bringing this up because you said like the white picket fence, like
Mhm.
Christian morals type thing. But then there was like a switch, and I think it happened, I'll say like maybe during the Obama administration type thing, where all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, hating on like kind of like the moral, upright, like follow the rules type of like Christian living thing or whatever. Why is all of a sudden now like kind of mainstream is like starting to hate on Christianity, morals, uprightness in society, and really starting to promote like lawlessness in
Mhm.
culture, more morallessness, decadence. Like I started really having to sit back and be like, wait a second, like, and it really did tie into this like 2012 time where I started seeing like a shift in like, well, literally like morality felt like it started to change right about then. And so I kind of was like having to look back at the other side and be like, well, wait, am I this edgy kind of like spiritual, like I thought I had a lot figured out. Like I said, I with between psychedelics and my degrees and all this stuff, I could tell you that I could go on and on. I could tell you the nature of the beast type thing. Like I could just talk. The chakras and the ascended masters and the whole deal. Anything about New Age, I'd already been there, done that. And I felt like I was interacting with these beings and stuff and all this stuff, this clairvoyance that I thought I had under control. Something shifted in me at that time, and it was like you said, this moral picket fence whole raise a family thing that I was always so just disgusted with because it just reminded me of like, well, yeah, they did what they wiped out the indigenous people, they enslaved every single brown, dark, black skin culture on the face of the planet, and here I am, this white guy, trying to like just sympathize and wonder like karmically for me, like, well, why was I born a white guy, or why was I given these gifts, or why am I 6'5" and athletic, or like, you know what I'm saying? I was like spirit. I was like dealing with my own like shame and judgment at this time. And like, anyways, I switched. I studied every religion I could get my hands on up to that point. Like anything I could understand about just Jainism, Hinduism, ancient India, ancient Chaldea and Babylon, and I had always stayed away from the Bible. Really, it always irritated me. And basically, my whole point is around this 2012 date. And like, what's so crazy when I think back to it and say it now, it's like, I mean, you were probably were you like
I
around the
was
2012
I
date,
was
like,
22. I was going into my senior year of college.
but so you remember, like the 2012 thing
Oh
was
yeah,
huge,
yeah. Oh
huge.
yeah, absolutely.
Like there were people that were like, I mean, thinking
Right.
we were ascending into the fourth dimension and yada yada, like the whole new age community. And it was just like at that time something hit me. I'll say, we met through John Barnwell, and
Hmm.
I met I met John Barnwell as a result of my son, who who was supposed to be starting Waldorf education this year. Are you familiar with Waldorf at all?
Heard the name.
So Waldorf is an alternative education system that was founded by he didn't call it Waldorf, but Rudolf Steiner, who is, that's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
okay, he was, I'd say, you know um he's the greatest occultist of I mean the greatest initiate of our modern era. Nothing has come out on the nature of the spiritual worlds, life, death, reincarnation, Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, the development of our planets, the universe, and cosmos, and so on, that hasn't been hijacked in some way by Rudolf Steiner. All of Blavatsky's work was laid to rest through Rudolf Steiner. The entire theosophical movement was kind of cleared up through the works of Rudolf Steiner. Well, he created an education system called that later became Waldorf education, but it's incredibly intense. The core teacher sticks with the child from first grade all the way through seventh grade. Everything is based on nature and it's basically the circadian rhythms, like the rhythms of the moon, the sun, the planets, the personality types. I mean, recapitulating the ancient past in terms of the present, in terms of where history is studied, and it's basically like an elite form of education for people that want their children to not be a part of the paradigm. This whole kind of like, I'll just say it's almost like a fascist, borderline fascist, communist thing that's happened in the public schools. I don't know, what it. Whoa, I know I know what it is, but it was kind of like the opposition to that. And so, anyways, my son was supposed to start at Waldorf and paid a bunch of money and yada yada, and got him prepped. Everything was going good. And first day, I brought up the LGBT thing, and I'm not like gonna sit here and try to come out and say, oh, I'm super anti-LGBT or anything like that. But I pay attention to trends and stuff, and just I pay attention to I follow what is being promoted, what is the agenda, and what I'm trying to say is, like, at that 2012 time, the agenda switched. So like it was like they got, like, someone like me was like, all for it, all for the people, all for like freedom and at all costs and yada yada. I got live free tattooed across my knuckles. But then something just changed. And anyways, so my son starts first week, first day, Waldorf. And his teacher's assistant, I'm 6'5", is like a 6'7". I don't even know. I mean, a tranny, I guess, a tranny, and people, by all means, do you, but
Sure.
like for me personally, to expose my issue with the LGBT thing, not to get off topic, but this is how John Barnwell and I met, is that it's being forced onto children, and I have a problem with that. I have a 6-year-old son, and I have a problem with the fact that even 2012 time, oh, Obama, LGBT, oh, it's a college movement, it's a grassroots thing. They weren't pushing that shit in
Not on
uh
kids.
not on children. They weren't
Yeah,
pushing
go
that on
do
the
it. Yeah,
kids.
go do whatever you want. Don't push. I'm not only against pushing LGBTQ into kids. You shouldn't be teaching kids about heterosexual sex. They're
Anything.
kids.
They should have
Teach them the
no I
ABCs and and fucking what the planets are.
yeah, so no. So not only have they switched, so everything started switching them. But anyways, I show up, there's some 7 foot tall tranny that's trying to parade around campus and stuff. And I was like, I already paid a lot of money. I paid half the tuition, it was like 16 grand. I paid like half of it up to that point. I'm like, so my son, I'm supposed to send down to this private school, and it's in the hood, by the way. It's in Indian Village, which Indian Village in Detroit is it's a wealthy community, but it is in the middle of a war zone. I mean, it is in the middle of just shit and piss. The hood in Detroit. The hood in Detroit is different than the hood in a lot of other places. It's like a fourth world
Fucking
country.
Syria.
It's bad. I mean, you have whole city blocks that are nothing, and it's not good. So, anyways, I'm like, all right, I'm not driving my son. I paid all this money. I'll eat the money, and I got him out. Well, I was like, I was being teacher certified in 2013, 2014 to be a Waldorf teacher. And, they basically approached me and said, hey, dude, you got these tattoos all over. Like, I don't know if you're cut out for this thing. Flash forward 10 years later, and here I am. I'm like, wow, like, I cannot let my son be groomed. So then I go online and I find this article called um, um, what's it? Something in Waldorf education. Transgender. It might be transgenderism in Waldorf education. Anyways, come to find out, no, Waldorf hijacked, and they're grooming children. Not only are they promoting it, but they're like openly like pushing these pronouns and this whole thing. So, anyways, I don't want to get too far into it, but I bailed out. So I'm on the internet, and I'm just like, man, I gotta like find out is what's that? That's all right. Sorry, my son here.
You're
Just go ahead, put on a video on the white TV. Put on a VHS tape, okay, until I'm done. Okay, I'll be in there. I don't let him I don't even have the internet at my house. I won't even have it. He's not a you. I'll be damned if he's a YouTube kid. So he got this little VHS
Hell yeah.
TV that he watches VHS tips on. But anyways, whole point is, I'm kind of like searching around, like, has Waldorf? I had my son when I had him. I had planned on sending him to Waldorf, and here it is. Nope, it's a grooming camp for to turn the kids into, the boys to girls and the girls to boys. I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm on the internet. Come across a couple articles by Douglas Gabriel,
I've heard
who's
that name.
that's John Barnwell's best friend, and he's Waldorf teacher trainer, Rudolf Steiner scholar, anthroposophist, on and on. He's got, I mean, just a phenomenal. Just, I mean, to me, it's just, him and John Barnwell. They're just, these two dudes are. I can't say enough good things about these guys. But so I come across John Barnwell. I'm like, wow, I hit him up. I'm kind of like, hey, I see you have had your hand in Waldorf education, and what's the deal? And so
Yeah.
I finally got a call, and he's like, the whole entire thing has been hijacked. It's been hijacked by this agenda. And I was put in touch further with another guy. I won't give his name because I'm sure he might powerful, I will say, clairvoyant. This guy's main line of work is he does EMF cleansings in homes, electromagnetic frequency cleansings. He does demonic kind of like exorcism type stuff in homes. They put me in touch with this guy because he had a son that was going to Waldorf and I haven't really been able to touch into like the whole, this clairvoyant thing that I've kind of always tried to keep at bay. Cause like the institutions will lock you up if you start to talk about angels and demons and things like that. You know what I'm saying? They'll put you away. I knew that real early. So I kind of like always try to like keep that at bay. But like when I first approached this campus with my son and this entity, I will call it, and it was manifesting as this 7 foot tall tranny dude, but like there was something going on this campus. And this dude was like hovering about the campus. So I explained this thing to John and puts me in contact with this other dude. So other dude tells me 100% straight up. I mean, through the work of Rudolf Steiner anthroposophy, you really, it's like John Barnwell always says, it's 36 and a half feet of shelf space is Steiner's work. That's one man that lectured and wrote from 1900 to 1925, 26, 25 when he died. And it's just thousands, over 6,000 published lectures and on the nature of this thing, breaking down, the hierarchies, the angelic hierarchies from mineral, plant, animal, all the way up to angel, archangel, archi, all the way to cherubim, seraphim, cherubim, thrones, into the Trinity, yada yada. The whole thing's, it's a pecking order. It's a science. He calls it spiritual science. So, like John Barnwell is a Steiner scholar and a spiritual scientist, I'd say at this point. And so this other dude said 100%, Kyle, the campus is, it's like, I don't know, how wide your audience is, but the campus is hijacked by a high demonic principality. He called it a seraphim, but something's going on.
Just feel it.
You could feel it. Something was off. And so then I started doing a little investigating and, word of mouth, yada, yada. And in this community of anthroposophists, or I'll just say clairvoyance, it's kind of known like, oh yeah, stay away from Indian Village. And why they would build this school back in the 50s or the 60s on it's called Indian Village because they had done mass executions of Native Americans on these streets, So anyways, turns out the whole freaking area is completely almost like possessed. I don't know what, but that's how I met John Barnwell. My whole thing with that is just like, I'll say at that time, that 2012 time, mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, and the craziness, the morality starting to slip, culture, the internet, AI, and something hit me like a ton of bricks through specifically the works of Rudolf Steiner, and that's all I said. Christ, the Christ. I don't even know. It sounds so cheesy, and like I'm the type of dude that like even still to this day, anything that is like overly like, oh, praise Jesus and the Bible and scripture and even though I'm a Christian, I'll say I'm a born again Christian. It always just made me cringe. It always just like, ugh. But something is it the, when this thing hit me and washed over me, I was, I'm in bands, I'm making rap music, I'm out, I'm supposed to be this like, I don't know what you call it. I studied all these healing modalities and shamanism and
Yeah.
yada yada, and I'm still kind of like teetering on like womanizing and like my dad being reckless with his open book of spells and yada yada and something. And I'll just say, when Christ spoke or whatever it was that I found that was through the Christ, it came through the works of Rudolf Steiner, and it happened at this 2012 day. And when I go back now in my personal life, I'm like, wow, that 2012 time, like everybody talked about, oh, there's going to be a shift, there's going to be a split, it's a paradigm shift, like half the earth's going to go this way, half the earth's going to go that way. And it's like I look back now, it's like, man, everything was tied around that like time period for me, at least me personally. But like you can kind of start to see it you could see it in the world. Things started to change then, and the internet started to change then. Have you ever heard of the dead internet theory?
Yeah.
That is so bizarre. And like, it's like we are in these little like algorithm like prisons.
Yeah.
Like,
Little, I think they call them we're stuck in these little cul-de-sacs
but we never you like when did this happen?
very slowly behind the
It happened
scenes.
so slowly. And so like at that time, that like I said, that time where like I had this come to Jesus moment, it wasn't even a moment, it was like 3 months of my life. Everything changed. Well, number one, I quit eating meat, I quit drinking, I got off Facebook. I say like my discipline, I was already a pretty disciplined dude in terms of like my diet, my training, and using the mask of martial arts and yada yada. But like it was at this time that like I was like, oh no, this demonic thing that I've always dealt with since a young age, swirling and spinning around me, these dragon forms and these things that hover about people if they're depending on which substance they're on, depending on if they're lustful or full of anger or greed. I've always had this like kind of like this like thing where like I sense like it'd be like an image accompanied by a feeling. That's all I could say. It's
Mhm.
specific with people and stuff. I get like an image of like a being, and then I could. It's not like you could. It's not like at least with the clairvoyance that I've experienced in my life. It's not like a. It's not like a oh, there's a ghost, or it's like there's a feeling and it's accompanied by like a thought picture for
No,
me.
I've 100% had that where
Okay.
I always get this image of like it's not like you actually see it. It's just in your head. It's almost like you meet people and it almost feels like there's a giant like rhinoceros sized
I
black entity just kind of behind it.
So you say rhinoceros,
I just
and
like that size is the one that always sticks out in my
it yeah, it's like
darkness, and it's like
yes,
quiet, and it almost like when you feel it's there, you almost feel like it looks at you or something,
it's
and
looking it knows you. It
it
knows
knows you're
everything
and
about you.
it's like Frodo putting on the ring, and like Sauron looks at him, and he looks at Sauron. Yeah, that's and anyone listening is probably like these guys are off the rockers. I don't care. That's literally like what drove me back to like praying to Christ was like getting these feelings of like, oh, it's kind of a beautiful thing. I was like, evil exists, so good exists. And if demons
When
exist, angels, and if there are demons, there's Lucifer, which means there's God.
exactly, and I
I know what you're
pushed.
talking about. It's a feeling. It's you can't really say it out loud because people are like, you need to be in a straitjacket, but like,
It's
yeah,
a feeling accompanied by a thought picture.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and you said,
terrifying.
ironically, you say rhinoceros and like these things, because and Rudolf Steiner breaks this down very in depth, but um, we're fashioning a body for ourselves, the chakras,
Yeah,
the quote unquote aura, based on our thinking at every moment. We're fashioning our spiritual bodies. our astral body, that is hovering about that, with our etheric body and our physical body within that, and our I, or our ego outside of that. We're fashioning our body. We're fashioning almost like a boat, um, for our life in between death and a new birth and the next one when we pick it back up, and so on and so forth. And so if you're fashioning one, that is immoral, and you're doing immoral things, and you're having immoral thoughts, and you're practicing, immorality in your life, you see them, a clairvoyance, I'll say, see them as with, they're like horned, like, so like there's no ring, there's not the halo of Christ and the angels. There's like these horny tusks, there's like these wisping tails, and they're like horn
Tentacle,
horny.
spider-ish, snake-ish,
Yes,
octopus-ish. That
yes, and that, yes,
yeah.
you literally, you carry that around with you. So like a clairvoyant could look at one who might have participated in things, that necessarily, are not moral. Hey, Brockton, you need to stop that. Okay, he's sitting over here playing hockey in the middle of the living room, slamming the stick. But so anyways, that's your lot. So you're there. You could be, it's like they say, the sun shines on all people. You walk around and the sun's shining on an evil
Yeah.
man and a good man. But the spiritual sun, that to me, that is the Christ within. That doesn't radiate from all people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So like, anyways, I feel like now though, with this blending of the internet and stuff like that, more and more, and especially the younger kids, are getting pulled into this world of like, it's like we don't even understand, like with these phones and with this technology, like the sorcery that it is.
You should read Leo Zagami. He's got his 7 books, Confessions of Illuminati. He was like head of like the Mason Lodge or something, like in wherever it was headed up, like went through all these like exorcisms, like born again, moved to America. He's been on like Alex Jones. I've had him on here a couple times. But no, he
I
talks about all this stuff. And no, that's one of the things. He's like he talks like this, but he says he sounds like Chef Boyardee, but like he
That's
talks
funny.
about like no, like the phones and like the demonic forces, and it's like it's never what you think it's gonna be. We think it's demons. It's like no, it comes in the form of a shiny treat, and it's like it
Well, just
comes
look at
in.
the back of your iPhone.
Yeah,
What's on the back of it? What's the logo?
the apple. Yeah,
The bitten apple. We're walking around. It's a joke. It's a slap in our face. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's
yeah,
the oldest story of the fall.
yeah.
And here we are walking around. We're like, and we're so proud. And like, we're so proud that we can just grab this phone and we can just flick around. And in medieval times, it's like a sorcerer with his wand making sigils in the air. And here we are we're flicking with our fingers on our phone. We don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I think we're on a slippery slope with this whole thing. And I swear, like if I could go back to college and write a thesis, which I might at some point, but it's like there's something to be said about this 2012 date. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I don't even know why I brought it so much up in this
No,
conversation.
no, I get it. I'm kind of leaning. I kind of like the idea more of like something did happen in 2012, but
Something happened.
it wasn't like a bomb. It wasn't like flipping a switch. Instead, it was the first domino was pushed.
It was like the
It might
first,
be a
like, look,
30-year domino. We don't know, but the first one was pushed.
it happened around
So
that
it
time.
did happen. It's just not what we thought. We thought it was going to happen all at once. No, they just think they just, and we're
And
11
and
years
it's
in
like
right now.
how could the Mayan long count, the Zavaya, this long count calendar, like
Who
how
knows,
could it
man?
how could it add up?
Who
How could
knows?
the I Ching, that the Terrence McKenna program, that he did you ever see that with the
Yeah.
whole time wave zero, like
Yeah. Time wave zero. Yeah.
right at that end date,
He
So
showed like a
anyways, I don't
spike
know.
around 9/11, like in the 2000s. Or he died in 2000. He showed that there was going to be this like spike of like novelness in like 2001 or something. Yeah.
And Rudolph Steiner, who makes very few predictions, but he said that there would be no time after the year 2000, the millennia, where the being that he called Ahriman, which is the Persian name for the biblical Satan, which is different than Lucifer, and that's the difference in Steiner's work. I think that There's no other occultist that I've ever come across, or initiate or spiritual philosopher or whatever, that's ever been able to break down the difference between Lucifer and Satan. They're two different beings.
Hmm.
One's in one ear and one's in the other. We're not just dealing with, oh, it's evil. One's coming from above, one's coming from below, one's coming from the left, one's coming from the right, one's coming forward from behind. And then there's Christ in the middle holding them all off. But Ahriman, just like Steiner says, Lucifer incarnated 2,000 years prior to the birth of Christ. Ahriman, the biblical Satan, will incarnate in no time after the year 2000.
Oh shit.
He will be in a physical body somewhere in the West. Somewhere in the West. And he doesn't give much more detail than that. But like, here we are now. And, these beings mimic everything about everything holy.
It's all also mirror,
the
inversion,
mirror.
mockery, put it in your face, boastful, gleeful, getting away with it, symbology.
So it's
Yeah.
always like that. So I don't know. I got my eye on a few, individuals. I got my eye on Elon Musk. I don't trust that dude. As far I don't know, that dude to me is just a slick.
My jury's still out on him. I can't pin it. I'm staying open minded. I can't pin it, in my personal humble opinion.
What Elon Musk specifically?
I can't. Yeah, I can't decide if he's good or bad. There's something. I can't definitively say one or the other. Versus like you look at a Bill Gates, you're like demon. George Soros, demon.
That's the scary
Musk,
part
I'm
about
not. Yeah,
Elon
Musk,
Musk.
I'm not sure. I'm like,
Yeah, gotta keep your eye on that dude.
got to keep an eye on everybody. That's why
Yeah.
you literally like full back, like back to like praying every day. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just praying to God. I'm like, do the right thing.
If you even know this last week, I won't even. We got like what 2 minutes here, but
Yeah, we got to wrap up.
man, my week has been. I'd say I've been through. So to wrap it all up, my father passed, and he died of I'll say straight up, within a month apart. My father, and my sister, and powerful, and they passed in. My dad was killed on a ventilator. They called it COVID. But I witnessed it, occultly speaking, and he died in occult death. He conjured it. He conjured something in 2000, around that time, and he tattooed it on his arm. And I won't even say the name out loud, but he put a sigil on his arm, and his life fell apart. And it manifested. It took 7-8 years, but it finally took him out. But all around that time, and and it had to do with and he fought and fought and fought to come to Christ at the end, and in the last days he finally did. But like, yeah, I guess this whole dialogue for me, I guess, turned into right now.
Come back to Christ.
I want you have to turn to Christ, like even if you are an atheist, even if you are a Satanist, it doesn't matter. You like just entertain it. Just go that route. Turn over and just go the route. Like
just try it. As Charlie Duke, the Apollo 16 astronaut who I had on here, told me. He goes, just try it. Just ask once. Goes, just ask once. You don't need to say it out loud. Your friends are gonna laugh at you. Just do it once by yourself. Just ask God to come into your heart. And if nothing happens, then nothing happens, and you don't need to try it again. Just earnestly, just try it once. Say, if you're there, say, I don't believe in you. I'm an atheist. I think it's bullshit like Santa Claus. Just try it once. Say, God, if you're there, please come into my heart.
I think if the dialogue could wrap up at that, it's like all that I just spewed for 40 minutes or whatever. It's like, man, I think if knowing me and knowing my beliefs and my whole life and way of growing up, at a point I was like, no, it can't be true.
It can't be. It can't. What? It's Christ. It's what? I thought that was cheesy. I thought that was stupid. Come back to it. Just drop your ego. Just try it. And if nothing happens, nothing happens. I'm not going to proselytize to you. I'm not going to force anybody to do it.
Nope.
Just try it on your own accord. You have to use your own free will.
That's the greatest gift, is that it's, and that's, I guess, the blessing that was the Luciferic impulse, is that was that initial push, that here's free will. You can choose them, or you can choose this other side, but It's like the most beautiful thing I could possibly fathom to choose Christ and God, you know, that it's like, I think that's,
That's
we're
why he
starting to,
created free will.
yeah,
He doesn't
exactly.
want a marionette. He doesn't want a puppet. That's not
Nope.
impressive. He wants something that has its own decision.
Yep.
You let go of it and they come back. Just try it. Even if you don't believe it. Hey, if anything, just like tactically, hedge your bets. Be like, listen, I'm an atheist. On the off chance there are demons, just
Do
hedge
you
your
know what I'm
bets.
saying?
Lock
Like,
your door. No one's probably gonna break in tonight, but lock your door.
lock your door. Like,
Hey, maybe you don't
wow,
believe in it and you're laughing at this. Take 3 seconds and say, God, if you're there, come into my heart. And then you gotta do it again. Whatever.
right. You're not going to walk through the hood, without a 9 millimeter,
Keep turning around, even if no one's there. Keep turning around. Right?
you
Yeah,
know,
dude. Yeah, dude. Put a password on your phone. Just no one's probably girlfriend's not gonna break into it, but
it's
just in
not going to get
case,
in.
just put a little password on it. You'll be happy. Um, dude, total pleasure talking to you. I'd love to do it again.
Uh,
We'll have to set aside some more time. I'm cramming like 5 episodes in today because I'm an idiot.
yeah,
But
maybe,
we'll have to
we
set
could be,
aside some more time. We could get Barnwell on here. That would be
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Us three
Yep.
just kind of surf around, just shoot the shit, go way out there.
Yeah, I try to just, touch on the Steiner thing a little bit because for me, I've been at it 10 years and I still feel so green into the work. It's so vast.
Yeah.
It's so vast. So I kind of like I defer to John Barnwell
Yeah.
here for the details, the nitty gritty of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe we could be a little bit more focused too. I kind of just,
And no, I like
know.
floating around and then let the focus come in naturally.
Right.
Um, but yeah,
But yeah,
we got to wrap
cool.
this one up. Kyle, total pleasure talking, dude.
Yep.
Uh,
Appreciate you
let's
having me.
let's set up another one. This will be.
Alrighty.
I like this. Ask God to come into
Cool.
your heart. Lock the door. Just lock the door.
Yep. Put a passcode on your phone.
Hell yeah. Much love, brother. Thank you for
Alrighty.
sharing.
Have a good
Take
one.
care.